Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to explain the other two types of loops, which are while loop and do while loop. So let's have a look. A while loop is a loop where we check the condition first before execute a block of code. If the condition is true, the code will be executed. If the condition is not true, the block of code will not be executed. Every time in a while loop, when we execute a piece of code, we check the condition. We re-evaluate the condition. As long as the condition remains true, the block of code will be executed. So it's a bit different than for loop and for each loop that I explained in the previous video. So let's have a look at example first for the while loop, and then I will come back, explain, and demonstrate do while loop. So let's have a look at while loop first. Open Visual Studio, please. So I'm going to open my Visual Studio and look for a .NET framework. And let's go next. While, do while loops. So I'm going to explain both of these in this one program. Right, so let's write some piece of code here. It's a demo of while and do while loops. I'm going to put a statement here just to hold my screen. Console the read key. Okay, so in between now here I'm going to write my loop. So for this loop I write, let's say, and I equal to 0. It has exactly the three parts as we had for the for loop. The initial value, the condition, and increment. So while I is less than, let's say, 10, and yeah, so this is the loop. So it has three parts. I equal to 0, which is the initial value of the I. This is the condition of the loop. So if you want, you can set it to 1, 2, 10, 5, whatever you want to set this to. And this one is the conditional part of the loop. Okay. And if I execute this, it's going to give me only one answer 10 times from 0 to 9, 10 times it will be executed. But it's going to give me only 0. So to avoid that, every time I want to get a different value, I must increment it. I++. So let's see, hopefully I will get the answer now that I'm looking for. So it will print me 0 in the first loop, then 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. It will print up to 9, from 0 to 9. When it reaches to 10, then the condition will be false. 10 is not less than 10. Then it will terminate. So I'm expecting on my screen that it will print 0 to 9, and then it will terminate. So as you can see, 0 to 9 is printed. Right. You see, exactly like a for loop, it has these three parts: the initial value, the conditional part of the loop, and increment. Now, where we can use it, let's say we can use it for many purposes. Let's say create an array, string, and I'm going to add something here. Right, so I created a small array here. In this array, this is type string, and the name is fruits. And I added some fruits here, like banana, apple, oranges, pineapple, grapes, and mangoes. Now to print these, all I have to do, I'm just going to just type that fruits here, because array works as an index, as I explained in my previous video. This is an indexed array. So this is location 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I need to run a loop 5 times, right? So every time I need to print an item from the array. So I'm just going to type here, let's say fruits. Okay, but if I execute this, it's going to give me a problem, because I'm running the loop 10 times and the items are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I run it, it's index out of range problem. Yeah, as you can see here. This is an exception happen, which I will explain in another video, what is exception handling. So to avoid this, two options I have. One option is that I count how many they are, which are 6. So I will just write here 6. So in the first loop, it will print 0, which is banana, 1, which is apple, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth index is mangoes. So it will work. As you can see here, all the fruits are printed. But the problem here is, let's say I add another item here. Let's say watermelon. So if I added another one, now look, when I'm running this loop, the watermelon is not printed on the screen because every time I have to change this manually. So to avoid this condition statement changing manually, we should use the built-in method of the array, which is fruits dot length. So that means whatever the length of the fruit is, which is actually 7, so it will be like I is less than 7. Right now our items in the array are 7, so it will be actually 7. And if you want to print to see what is actually the length of the array, you can print it. You can just, let's say CW, the length of the array is, and then you can just concatenate it here and print it. So this code will print me how many items we have in this array. It will then run this loop. Yeah, it will print all the items and then print it for me on the screen. Let's have a look. So the length of the array is 7, which is banana, apple, oranges, and all these. So the good thing with using this built-in function is, if even I delete something, let's say from here, I don't have to worry. For example, I deleted this, so I don't have to manually adjust this. Automatically, it will adjust how many items we have in the length of the array. So let's run it. Now we have everything except watermelon. So this is a demonstration of the while loop, as you can see here. So we have initial value, then we have while, the condition, while I is less than length of the array. Yeah, then print that's corresponding item of the array. Like in the first loop, it will be 0, so it will go to index 0, which is banana. And then it will increment it by 1. So in the next loop, it will go to 1 index, which is apple. And the next index, it will go to index 3, which is oranges, then apple, then grapes, and mangoes. So that way, it will get all the items from the array and print it on the screen. Now let's have a look at the what is called the do while loop. So the do while loop is, this is commenting. So do while loop is same as while loop with a small difference. The difference is that we execute the code first and then we check the condition. So do, I just wanted to do exactly the same thing. So do, let's create another variable this time. Let's say int j equal to 0. I don't want to use I for the same loop, so just make it distinguished from that. So we got j equal to 0. So do what I wanted to do. I wanted to print all the fruits exactly the same way. Oops, sorry, 0. So, okay. Oops, sorry, I don't need to use 0, 1, 2, 3. I should use j, which is a variable here. So in the first loop, I'm expecting it to print the 0 location item, which is banana. Right, but then I need to increment this. And for that, I'm going to use this increment here, the same like I used here. The difference here is that we put the while loop on the top of the block. Here, I'm going to use it at the end of the block. While j is less than Right. So while j is less than fruit start length, I have to put a semicolon here. This is part of the syntax. Right. So this is another loop now. Okay, let me print something here as well, which is a space /n, and printing the above array using do while loop. Okay, so I want a bit of space between this print and this print, and this is a bit of message that this one is printing using do while loop. So what I did here, again, three parts of the loop. While int j equal to 0, initiated with 0. Then I said do this, print the first item of the array, increment j by 1, okay, and do this, keep printing it while j is less than fruit start length. What is fruit start length in this case? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's less than 6. If I add another fruit here, papaya, watermelon, melon, any other fruits that I add here, this will be automatically updated. So here in a do while loop, it will execute a block of code first, and then it will check the condition. So this is the main difference. While loop, it checks the conditions first, then execute a block of code. In a do while loop, we execute a block of code, compile, execute a block of code, and then check the condition. Personally, when I can use this one, do while loop I use when I'm expecting the stop condition coming from the block of code inside. So like I'm expecting a user input here to decide to continue the loop or not continue the loop. In that situation, I'm using a do while loop. So this is the difference between while and do while loop. Let's have a look at the output. You see that? So the length of the array, the items we have in the array are 6. It printed all the 6 items. Then this one is the while loop, and this one is a do while loop. With a do while loop, we printed the same items as you can see here. I hope it helps you to understand the difference between while loop and do while loop with the help of this small array. Thank you for watching.